Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. At the 3 o'clock location, we have TLO. Liquid TLO is the blue Terran. 12 o'clock location, we have EG Incontrol as the red Protoss. This is the second set between them from MLG Dallas. Incontrol very wisely deciding to go to Metalopolis, which when you know Liquid TLO style, that tends to be very aggressive, tends to have some cheese mixed in there. Although the thing about TLO is even though he does have the very creative timings, he also has a decent macro style to back it up. But I think Incontrol has the better macro as far as just the head-to-head matchup style over the long run. So taking perhaps a weapon out of his arsenal, going to Metalopolis, which tends to lead to more macro-oriented styles and tends to be a little bit less favorable towards Terran cheese, just because it is so well practiced. Unfortunately, this is also MLG Metalopolis. You don't have the close spawn positions, which is going to detriment TLO perhaps a little bit. Might have wanted to get aggressive to start, I don't know. And on top of that, Incontrol with this early scout wants to get very quick eyes on TLO, perhaps get a little bit of distraction harassment with this probe as well. That's going to give the location away. It looks like TLO going, yay, on top of it, stealing some minerals to start and before going and attacking that barracks. But that's the thing, because you do not have close spawn locations, you essentially know where your opponent is spawning when you have that quick a probe coming into your base. Looks like SCV on probe action, hot, hot, hot. Quite literally, the sparks and the flames and the metal. It's kind of grotesque. And it looks like it's too bad that that cumulative damage doesn't take out an SCV, because thus far that probe has done its share. It still has taken 5 base damage. Looks like that SCV for TLO now moving forward into the base. Gateway spotted. Plenty of chrono boost expended on the Nexus for those probes. The simulator just marked there as well, so no indications of any sort of early pressure. Additionally, a pylon to go a little bit more economically savvy in that probe. Starting to move in, and now that that Marine's in production, it only has a scant amount of time left. It's going to check for that gas before it backs out of this base, and that is its indicator to get out. Its life does matter because it has some minerals in its hands that automatically makes it valuable. That's right, you have minerals in your hand, that makes you valuable, worthwhile. 35 just because of what's in your hand. It's like if you're carrying around gold, you're worthwhile and you have cash, whatever. Anyway, cybernetic core now, several probes coming off the line to assassinate that SCV and just sparking in flames everywhere. Again, hot action. Cybernetics core about halfway finished, and it looks like there is a second gas for Incontrol, which leads me to believe he's going for, again, sentry, perhaps more defensive style, at least to start. But we are at close air position, so there is some possibility that direction. Factory now being built for TLO. Looks like he does have a blockade with those 2 Marines, and Incontrol has that probe alongside and doesn't want to suicide it. Again, valuable minerals. It looks like a Marine starting to press out to maybe catch it off guard. Let's see if Incontrol is going to be able to sneak out with it. And now taking some damage. It's too bad the additional Marine wasn't with it, otherwise that would have been an easy kill. So interesting factory opening for TLO, which leads me to believe we're going to see maybe some early Hellions to perhaps deny or sneak into this natural expansion and try to isolate that. On top of it, when you're talking about later game, the Hellions are very good as far as just mobile spotters. It looks like that probe, just as I said, hey, your life is valuable, don't throw it away. He sits on that Zelnaga watchtower where he will most likely inevitably be killed. Robotics facility in production as well, so I assume we're going to see an early observer, which is very intelligent for Incontrol against a player like TLO. Hellion halfway finished, but we also have a starport in production for TLO. So it looks like perhaps going to go for either an elevator or maybe a 2-prong drop, throw some troops on the front and try to split that force. But even just a flat elevator, Incontrol is going to have a huge amount of difficulty defending this. He's only got a single stalker to his name. Looks like a second stalker. That sentry is not going to provide a lot of additional defense. And he's also got this robotics facility, which is going to produce an observer first rather than an immortal or rather than anything additional. And on top of that, TLO knows this timing, that medevac and these troops are probably going to be out of position before that observer is really going to be able to come across and see any of this coming. So Incontrol completely in the dark, and it looks like that probe being backed off that Zelnaga watchtower. So it may live yet. We can all hope. A stalker moving up as well to take out that SCV. But now TLO pressing forward. Again, that observer just now moving out, so it's not going to see these troops. It might see, yeah, it is going to see these Hellions. But Incontrol needed to preserve this stalker to defend. Losing this stalker, he's going to have all of one stalker and a single sentry to stop multiple Marines, 7 Marines and 3 Hellions with a medevac to support. Wow, he's in a lot of trouble. Looks like he's got that immortal bot halfway finished, so he needs to position himself very, very carefully to defend this. And it looks like TLO, rather than just going straight to the probe line, is actually working down the pylons while elevating those troops up. So it's going to try to throw Incontrol into the red so he can just win by pure troop advantage. Unfortunately, Incontrol has plenty of pylons out in the field, also getting a 3rd gateway. Nice sentry force field and more sentry force fields. Now that immortal in out in the field, so Incontrol actually provides some defense. He is in the red. Looks like that Immortal slamming those Marines. Unfortunately, the medevac being whittled away. Now those Hellions getting against those probes. Oh my goodness. Harvesters misstepping and as a result getting annihilated. And now Incontrol down to 17 Harvesters versus 25 plus. Is he going to be able to get the medevac? Does snipe the medevac at the very least. But way behind economically. TLO, on top of everything else, still has a Marine sitting in there. Looks like he's also got a bunker at the cross position. Has a command center about halfway finished in his base, which he doesn't even need to take that natural with. Suicide Marine and 2 more Hellions diving in to get some bonus damage. Oh my goodness, Incontrol's economy is shattered. Oh, nice force field. Looks like he is going to be able to clean this up, but not before losing so much ground versus TLO. So TLO, with again showing his style, showing some amazing creativity. Is this Hellion going to be able to sneak out? Are you kidding me? Looks like 14 health it is. It's actually going to be able to get out and sit at that natural expansion and provide some additional scouting on top of everything else. Nothing going right for Incontrol here. He can just, and now TLO can sit back, make this command center into an orbital command, just sit back on a huge economy. It looks like he's already got 3 barracks up and running, starport as well as that factory, 2 bunkers just in case there was an all-in attack, but a warp prism moving forward for Incontrol, and this could be his last hurrah. Maybe he can do enough economic damage to sneak back in this match. Immortal 2 sentries, and it looks like some more troops funneling in. The problem for Incontrol is he's warping these troops at the low ground, and I don't know that he's going to have a large enough economy to warp in support troops, so it's just going to be what he's moving and ferrying across here, and not a lot of backup. And as a result, time is of the essence. Absolutely of the essence. There's several mules on the ground. Looks like TLO is somewhat out of position. This is going to come down to micro. Maybe Incontrol can pull this off. Now engaging. There's that medevac. Can he pick it off? It looks like instead going for the SCV lines. The SCV's coming off the line. Sentry blockade. The Marine's going to have to take the long way around, which is going to allow those SCVs to be exposed. There's the Guardian Shield. 7 Marines just pounding away at everything they can, and this is a complete cluster. So I'm just going to bring up the health tabs of Stalkers being whacked. Just absolutely crushed, but that Immortal still standing doing tons of group damage. I don't see a lot of troops warping in, unfortunately. Now that's Immortal taking out only a single Stalker left and plenty of Marines. Oh, plenty of Marines to finish things off. Granted, there's a lot of economic damage done. Looks like 13 Harvesters left, but between that and the mules and the 2 orbital commands, TLO still in fine position. Actually has a Raven as well, and is getting a Banshee, and that Banshee-Raven combination is very devastating. Another medevac moving forward, and it looks like that Warp Prism just trying to check out and be a little bit threatening around that corner, forced TLO to stay back somewhat. Still a Hellion here at the natural expansion. Man, it could have actually dove in and gotten some more kills. Might still get a probe kill as he's wandering out to try to take that natural. Yeah, ouch, that sucks. So again, nothing going right for Incontrol this match. Looks like there is that Hellion should be out shortly. Looks like he's just going to get pure Hellions out rather than worrying about cloaking that Warp Prism. Sneaking out towards that natural expansion, wants to probably do some damage there. Finally, that Hellion getting taken out. Incontrol is going to try to take an economic lead by holding a base. I don't think he has a lot of troops to defend here, though. So what he's going to try to do is sneak back and forth with this Warp Prism, force, and actually maybe even show it to TLO, force TLO to stay back. As long as he keeps that Warp Prism alive and provides some threat, maybe he can get this base up and running. He still has to contend with a lot of Banshees. This medevac actually moving the back corner empty just to provide some scare for Incontrol. It is completely empty, but in the meantime, it's still going to be able to do a lot of scouting information if it moves out to the natural, which it is going to be able to. Oh, that absolutely sucks. Yeah, it's going to wander up. Okay, you've got a natural. That means I know I have a troop advantage. And still 3 gateways rolling, orbital commands dropping those mules. If you bring up the economic tab, basically about a 1/3 advantage for TLO. He's still even, and also Incontrol not getting a lot of troops out. He's just expending all the chrono boosts he can to try to get probes out in the field. Now that command center floating out towards that natural. This is that Warp Prism's opportunity, kind of hidden there on screen. Let's see if he can move in and get something accomplished. But this is the thing, TLO still has a good degree of mobility. He's got a very formidable attack force to cope with. That is a really scary army. If you bring up the units tab, 22 Marines, 1 Raven, 2 Banshees versus just 5 Stalkers, a single Zealot, a Warp Prism, and 2 Sentries. So I don't think Incontrol can hold back against an all-in onslaught from TLO at this moment. He has to rely on just the threat of a Warp Prism harass at this stage. And I think Incontrol has to know it. He's so late on those Colossi. He's so late on Immortals. He's so late on anything that would really be able to cope against this very large Marine army. And particularly with this tech lab starting to work towards Combat Shield, which is now finished, those Marines are extremely scary. That statue had to die. had to die. Incontrol now pressing forward to gauge. Looks like at the corner, Hellions waiting to dive in. Keep in mind those Banshees do not have cloak, but they still are very strong against Stalkers. Banshees very strong unit, period. And wow, Hellions unopposed, going to be able to get some more delicious probe kills. Probes trying to flee. Nice pullback by Incontrol to keep his units alive, but still his base is being descended upon. Marines being a little bit cold there, a little bit hoarded, but point defense drone completely neutralizing those Stalkers. GG from Incontrol. More beautiful play from TLO. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to move on to game 3. Thanks for listening.